introduction about my institute and department where I am working, and state of art of bio devices, the current situation in the current scenario, the number of the bio devices, and it's a summary. And next will be particularly diabetics and glucose sensing devices, how these biosensors has developed particularly for the diabetic patients based on the measurement of the glucose sensing. And then motivation towards this work, how we started here. And then one particular case study we will show you here, design and simulation of an osmotic pressure sensor. So osmotic pressure sensor is our main target here. We will be discussing about the design and the simulation part here. And maybe later on, we will be talking about the fabrication point of view also. And then we have a MEMS Research Center in our KL University. So we will be give the glances about our research activities in our center, acknowledgement, and finally the references, the sources which we have taken to carry out our work. So KL University, it is a deemed university which is situated in near to Vijayawada, 10 kilometers from the Vijayawada, and this university is full of greenery, and also it is very near to the Vijayawada city. And this campus is situated near about 150 acres, which is bank of Krishna River. And initially, this is started as a KL College of Engineering in 1980s by the visionaries Sri Koneri Lakshmaya Garu and also the Koneri Satyanarayana Garu. And later it has become a deemed university in 2009, which is Koneri Lakshmaya Education Foundation, which is deemed to be university in 2009. And these are the founders and the president, secretary, and vice president and of our university. So main of vision of our university is to become a globally renowned university technically, and the mission is to impart quality higher education and also to undertake the research and extension activities in innovation way, emerging social needs through all around development of the students. Particularly, the students will be globally competitive and competent for the social responsible citizens. That is the main mission of our university. And after becoming a university, this university is holded many ranks. It is becoming a number one private engineering college in combined state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And also this is the NAC created university. Now currently we are having the NAC A++ grade, and also as for the UGC, this university is the first grade university. And also in addition to this, there are so many other ranks are there for our university. And this university is mainly targeted UG level courses and also PG level courses initially. The proposed intakes are showing, and we are offering different branches. So I'm not going in detail about this. Almost all engineering branches is offered by KL University, both in PG and UG levels. And also we have architecture, pharmacy, management, and applied arts and crafts. So the faculty point of view, the engineering and technology, we have around 875 faculty, and also we have management. Overall, we have 953 faculty members. So in all the departments, we have number of the doctorates. So around the doctoral faculty will be 466. So this is the sum of the statistics, because the faculty is the backbone of any institution. So this university is also believes that and follows the same. Coming to our department is electronics and communication engineering. We started initially 1980s with the UG program, and later 2002 we started PG program on radar and communication. In 2010 we started with VLSI, and 2015 we have atmospheric science as a specialization in MTech program. From 2009, after becoming a university, this university is also offering the UG, PG, and also PhD programs. So we have a BTech in ACE with the specializations of communication systems, VLSI, signal processing, and networks. We have basically the 4 specializations. So we have also a PG, program, we have post-graduation program with the specializations, and intake of each specialization will be 24. And also we are also offering the PhD program both part-time and full-time in various specializations like VLSI and MEMS, signal processing, RF and micro engineering, and communications, and so on and so forth. So we have a good number of students both in full-time and part-time in all the specializations. And coming to our department, we are maintaining the teaching faculty ratio is 1 is to 14.6 ratio as for the UGC and as for the AICT norms. So these are the thrust areas where our faculty is working in different domains. Microelectronics, mainly people are working on the MEMS and semiconductor devices, and also electronics, nanotechnology, antenna design, applied signal processing, biomedical signal and image processing, low power VLSI circuit design, RF and microwave communication engineering, wireless communications, and also optical communications. And also we have a atmospheric science and weather forecasting group. So these are the some of the main thrust areas where our faculty working on the research. So we mainly broadly classified our department into three major research groups as a specializations. Microelectronic is one of the specializations where I am leading this group, and image, speech, and signal processing is another research group, and communications is another research group. So the entire department is classified into the three research groups as the specializations, where BTech students, when they come to the final year, they will do their BTech projects on these specializations in different areas. So R&D is one of the main element in our department, as well as in our whole university. EC department is one of the best department who is doing a lot of research and also running the funded projects. So far we have completed the funded projects from various funding agencies around 30, and the ongoing projects will be around 15, and so many number of the project proposals are submitted so far is 30. And we have a research award, is early career research award we have, and UGC research awards, young scientist awards, women young scientist awards from the DST, SERB, and also we have a projects from the DRDO, ISRO, and also from the other funding agencies. So let us start our talk. This is about our department and university. So I believe mainly always I used to suggest to the people is research is always research is what I am doing when I don't know what I am doing. That is what I believe always for the research. And also research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. That is mainly I believe for the research always to start with the motivation. So firstly, I'll just talk about the MEMS technology. So MEMS is nothing but the micro electromechanical systems, which is one of the emerging technology in the current situation. And there are a lot of devices has come up by this technology, and they are leading the now the society. So these devices are very small in size, and these are capable of integrating with each other with both electrical and mechanical components, and the chip size will be in terms of the micrometers. That is the reason this technology, we can also say that it is a process of technology used to create tiny integrated devices or systems that combine both electrical and mechanical components, the perfect definition of the MEMS. So it's a process of technology. So basically it is a device level technology where fabrication will play a major role and vital role here. They used to fabricate uh, using integrated circuit batch processing techniques. Some of the batch processing techniques like lithography technique, etching technique, and deposition techniques are used in this process, fabrication process. And the range is very important here. It will be considered only few micrometers to the millimeter range, where we can able to do the fabrication of such a small size kind of the matter. When we take up with the different integrated batch processing techniques, we can create a very small scale devices. That is the reason these devices or these systems can be able to sense it, can be able to control it, and also can be able to actuate on a micro scale level. Overall, it will be generate the effects on the macro scale level. That is the reason today we have so many number of the devices from this technology, but inside we have the micro scale level. Overall, the impact of that will be on the macro scale levels. So as MEMS technology is an interdisciplinary nature kind of the field, and it requires the expertise from all different domains. So MEMS mainly utilizes design, engineering, and manufacturing expertise from wide and diverse range of the technical areas. So different fields of expertise is required, and integrated circuit fabrication technology expertise is required, mechanical engineering expertise is required, material science expertise is required, electrical engineering expertise is required, chemistry and chemical engineering, and also fluid engineering, optics, instrumentation, finally the packaging engineer. So where all these people work together finally to produce the MEMS devices, any kind of the MEMS devices that matter. It may be a RF MEMS, it may be a bio MEMS, it may be optical MEMS, it may be a MOMS, or any kind of the micro electromechanical systems for different applications can be done only by different domain of the people expertise, including electronics and communication engineers. So that's the reason today, if you look into the academic developments, particularly only in IIT Bombay is having the full-fledged clean room for the MEMS devices, and also expertise are there in the IIT Bombay from electrical engineering and also from the mechanical engineering and chemical engineering. And other than IIT Bombay, the next full-fledged clean room facility is available in the IISc Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. There is a separate center is formed exclusively for this MEMS, the Center for Nano and Micro and Nano Engineering, Nano Science and Nano Engineering Center. It is used to be called as a SENSE. So basically, this is a clean room facility which will be provided for all kind of the expertise. So here in the center, all different peoples are there. People, the professors from electronics and communication background, people from instrumentation, people from physics, people from chemistry, people from electrical background, and also mechanical background. They have formed a group and started this particular project. They started separately a clean room, that is a SENSE laboratory in the IISc Bangalore. So other than these two institutions, in particularly in India, there are a few other institutions, academic institutions are also take up the challenge of these MEMS devices, but limited access. MEMS technology is having the applications in different domains, So MEMS applications are there on the radio frequency range, radio frequency range like RF MEMS devices, like RF MEMS switches, RF MEMS resonators, RF MEMS filters. These kind of the devices are basically on the radio frequency range. And also MEMS applications are there for the pressure sensing element basis, where the pressure sensors like tire sensors, microphone, printed heads, all these are the pressure sensing applications. And like that, we have a inertia sensing. Based on the inertia sensing, we have applications like accelerometers, gyroscopes, and also compass based sensors we have. And also this is the most dominated domain or area where MEMS will be directly uh, utilizing in the automobile industry. Mainly today, if you see into the advanced vehicle, the vehicles are having the airbag development systems. So the airbag development systems are inbuilt with the inertia sensors, where the MEMS small micro sensors are play a vital role in that. Not only that, so many other diagnosis of your complete automobile vehicle today, this is having consisting of so many number of the micro sensors for different purposes. So this is one of the dominating devices, where accelerometers, gyroscope, and all. And also we have a optical transmitting devices like a projector, micro mirrors, micro relays, These kind of the devices are also there from the MEMS technology in a small scale. Biological applications and also medical applications like lab on chip, cell sorter, cell gripper, like many pressure sensors, temperature based sensors, so on and so forth. So many. For the biomedical point of view, the scope is widen, and also this MEMS technology has been enter into the biological applications a lot. So many number of the disposable kind of the sensors are already utilizing in a and also there are some applications of this MEMS technology in the energy, also energy field, like a fuel cells, energy harvesting kind of the devices are nowadays coming up with this technology. So like that, there are many more, and all these applications are not specific to a particular a domain. If you look into all these, from biotechnology to the space and also defense and also consumer electronics, communication applications, biomedical applications, everywhere this MEMS technology is now creating a opportunity to do innovative kind of the devices. And some of the applications in the biomedical field, MEMS surgical tools, basically, which will be provide capability and accuracy to perform the surgery. Like we have a blood pressure sensors, drug delivery systems, micro valves, micro pumps, and accelerometers for the health. Smart pills are the some very hot devices, very new devices which is coming up in the particularly for the biomedical applications, where we are working on these drug delivery systems. This is the area where we have take up, and here we are trying to design a drug delivery system in a different way, where it will be provide a good outcome, the performance of the device, in addition to our sensors. So our main other sensor is the glucose monitoring, how to measure the glucose levels in the blood. And other than that, we are also targeted the drug delivery systems. And the state of these MEMS, which is the state of bio applications of these biomems devices can be available in the clinical medicine, environmental point of view, biological and chemical analysis. So this is, it will be vary from application to application. Sometimes this application may be overlapped with each others. So mainly very close to the same biological application oriented only, but the applications are broadly placed into the category like clinical diagnosis. We have a devices, and environmental applications, biomems devices, food safety processing purpose, we have a biomems devices, and bioprocessing point of view, we have a bio devices. So all these devices are comes under the umbrella of the biomedical applications, but still inside, if you classify them, there are so many individual applications are there. So in addition to these classification, the basic research applications are already there, that inform and which will be drive for applications in other areas, where biomems revolutionize in the field of medicine by producing the new and novel and innovative kind of the tools as well as the devices to for the better outcomes. So the clinical applications of biomems, including both the diagnosis point of view and also uh, the other therapeutic point of view. So utilizing the micro sensor and also some of the transducers kind of the MEMS devices are there for the diagnosis, means to identify the problem. And after that, to provide a solutions for that is the drug delivery actuators and other disease monitor based devices are already there in the clinical applications from the biomems point of view. So here, if you look into the biomems devices, the basically these are the sensors, and these sensors can be uh, based on its device orientation and also its application. These sensors are classified. One is topical and external connected sensors, implantable kind of the devices. So all these are the biomem sensors only, but some of them they can be applied to the skin, or we can place on the body. So those are called as the topical sensors, biosensors only, but it's a one category like a topical sensors. And some of the sensors which will be externally we will connect it to the human body. So those will called in vitro or external with in vivo or internal devices. So that is one category of the biosensors which are already developing now. It is based on the placement of the sensor. And there are some sensors which is totally implantable kind of the devices, totally in vivo. So these devices we can able to insert into the human body. So that topical kind of the sensors what we have, it will be, these are the sensors which will be applied to the skin or we can place on the body. So therefore this device will be work like that. One of the familiar kind of the device which will comes under this category is the thermometer, which is used to measure the body temperature. So this is a one of the device of biomems, but this is comes under the topical sensors. So mainly here, the thin film, the thick film will be disposable, the thermistors, and because of the infrared ear thermometers are largely replaced by mercury. Mercury thermometers are largely replaced by these particular advancements. And another one is externally we can connect these kind of the sensors to the human body so that we can able to sort out the issues. So such a kind of the example is here. And here we have a complete device. This device is consisting of the microphone and also a speech processor, a transmitter and a receiver, and finally an electrode array. So you can see all these you can see these four, you can see these four components in this particular sensor. In the sensor we have a microphone, this is the microphone, and also speech processor. We have a transmitter, we have a receiver, and we have an external element. All these four components are connected each other. All these four components are connected each other. One is basically the microphone which will be pick up the sound and which will select the frequency and arrange the sounds for the transmitter, that will be processed to the transmitter, and the transmitter will be transmit the signal, and the receiver or the stimulator will be convert that signal into the electrical impulses which is used to stimulate by the array. So this process will be happen simultaneously. Finally the array that stimulates different regions of the auditory nerve systems. So this is mostly useful for the deaf persons who are not able to listen and who are not able to uh, uh, speech. So this will be useful for the deaf people. And here this complete the four components are integrated with each other at a small scale level. These are the external kind of the sensors which will comes under the biomems. So and after that the another kind of the biomems is the glucometer, where the external connected biomems is the glucometer, and these devices have implanted glucose sensor that will be communicate with the external component, such that the computer and other micro pumps devices are also there with this. So these are with the implantable kind of the sensors. These are currently available in the market in different models like a Minimed Paradigm 522 and also One Touch Pinch TM and Glucode. These are the three different models are available, and all the functioning of all these sensors are the same. So one is externally connected and one is internally. So this is highly useful to transmit its results into the micro pump that delivery the insulin continuously to the body. So once you know the glucose levels of the human body, so that immediately we can take the necessary action and transmit the insulin. I mean, we can drug delivery into the human body to maintain the better levels of the glucose levels. And one touch pinch skin sensor, this sensor will be measured with blood sugar levels. And also the glucose sensor will be a micro pump and also microfiber kind of the biosensor, which will be inserted into the skin to know about the glucose level. So all these different devices, but the finally the main intention and target of all these three devices are the same, which will be used to know about the glucose levels of the human body. And there are some devices, implantable devices, which is fully implanted into the human body. So this is the one of the biomems which will have a numerous possibilities, but few of devices are made already available into the market also. So those devices are so these are the devices which is completely implantable kind of the devices, like you can see the pacemakers, defibrillators. These are the some of the biomems sensors which is comes under the for these kind of the devices which is completely function from the inside of the human body with the help of the different nerve systems. And these implantable micro sensors will have a thin film polymer foils are used here, and which will be embedded for the other microelectronics for both the recording purpose and the stimulation purpose. So these implantable pressure sensors are cardiovascular and glaucoma monitoring and monitor pressure point of view. For these particular problems, biological molecular sensors are also there. So these are the molecule based sensors, and these can be able to, one of the example is the some of the pregnancy test at the home. And here mainly this employs the antibodies as the biosensor, and here mainly you can see antibodies have reported to the group which is attached, and which will detect a small protein produced during the pregnancy, and that will be present in the urine and other target elements. So based on these, the test can be provide you the results whether it is the positive or the negative. This is the molecular based. So here our molecules are targeted. So we are able to detect the molecules based on the molecules. That is the biological molecular sensor. Other one which is very friendly used and it is available in every home nowadays. This is an external glucometer that requires the patient to place the drop of blood as a MEM sensor. And here you look into the MEM sensor, which is the size is very small. So here usual process is we have this glucometer, and we have to insert a one cantilever based strip, and we have to pour our one blood sample on this, the drop of the blood over here, and it will get the deflections, the number of the deflections converted into the voltage signals. So finally you will get the number which is maybe 120, 150, 160 up to 150 can be understood that we are having a high blood level. Another very successful biomem sensor in glucometer particularly is monitors the blood glucose levels of the diabetic patients. So they have provided the mechanical actuations, but this mechanism is development of many kind of osmotic pumps, which is maybe used to provide the controlled drug delivery without consuming electrical energy. So further, these osmosis principle is extended for the measurement of the active substance in the human body, which is in the fluid form. But however, these devices have suffered from poor values of sensitivity, response time, large system size, whatever we discussed earlier. So these are suffering with this. So moreover, these osmotic pressure sensors employed with the polymer materials, which already discussed, polymer foils are used inside, which is integrated with the electronic circuits to monitor it. That external glucose concentration level will be monitor purpose. But these analytical and numerical simulations of these micro actuators previously whoever is presented by the different researchers are limited, and also modeling and simulations will play a very vital role. The analytical and numerical simulations of the actuators previously different researchers have done, but they are done limited. But we are moving in a different way. So in developing of innovative product at a reducing fabrication cost point of view, and also to reduce the time, the response time, we are moving away. So the advanced design methodologies, variety of software tools are needed to analyze mechanical and to do the electrical and fluidic behavior in a system point of view. So there are many other tools are also there, but we started with the console and Intel suite software. Basically, we have done it with this. The computer simulations will be provide the understanding of the device behavior mainly. With the simulations, we can understand the device behavior, and we can optimize the device with number of parameters to improve the performance of the structures. Basically, that is designing and simulations main target. So MEMS devices are popularized by analyzing, utilizing of FEM, DEM, and FEM tools to solve the related potential differential equations numerically. The design and simulations of MEMS are inherently complex in nature, and the realization of these complex systems behavior is even more and more complex. But MEMS structures are integrated with these microfluidic devices where osmotic pressure sensor is taken. So this osmotic pressure sensor mechanism is it's a transport of mechanism widely found in variety of biological systems. Mainly the net movement of the solvents which flows across the semi-permeable membrane driven by the difference concentration level. You can look into this figure. Here we have a small, we can say container which is mounted with the semi-permeable membrane, and this semi-permeable membrane, you can see the solvent which is crossing across the semi-permeable membrane. It is making a lot of difference in terms of the concentration levels. The semi-permeable membrane will be separate the solutions at low concentration levels, which is in the left hand side, and high concentration levels at the other side, that is the right hand side. So the small solid circles indicates the water molecules, and the bigger halo circles indicates the solutes molecules, whatever the solutes we targeted, like sugar or urine or other kind of the solutes molecules, the target molecules. And in addition to that, we must have the water molecules. So here there are two different osmotic mechanisms are described. One is forward osmosis and a reverse osmosis mechanism. So in a reverse osmotic mechanism, the applied pressure to separate the solutes, the driving force for the flow of solvent through the membrane. But whereas in forward osmotic, the osmotic pressure itself will be the driving force for the mass transport. So therefore, osmotic pressure is related to the concentration of the solute particles. So mathematically that will be formulated. The osmotic pressure is due to the solute concentration which is given here. So RT and delta C, where delta C is the concentration difference between the solutes, R is the gas constant, and T is the temperature. So these are the three elements which is crucial for the development of this pressure sensor and also mechanism of this pressure sensor. So due to the concentration difference, osmotic pressure develops, and also water molecules move from low concentration region to the high concentration region, which is always will be happens. Always it will go from low concentration to the high concentration. Whereas the semi-permeable membrane allows only passage of water molecules, and it will be reject the large size of solute molecules. Those will be target molecules, maybe ions or glucose or any levels. So by using of these equations, the rate of solvent can be measurable, how much the semi-permeable membrane can be able to separate them. And after that, the solvent will be passed through the semi-permeable membrane if there is any change in the glucose concentration outside. Once there is any change in the glucose concentration outside, the solvent can be passed through the membrane. The flow of such a solvent, which is passing through the semi-permeable membrane, will be controlled by different parameters like delta pi, which is the concentration difference across the semi-permeable membrane, and sigma, which is amount of the solute particles which is passing through the membrane in and out, and also Kp, and also the area of the membrane. So all these are the parameters which will be able to control the rate of flow of solvent. So the filtration coefficient can be related to the geometrical parameters here. So the geometrical parameters of these membrane is directly connected to the dimensions of our sensor. So the permeability of membrane depends on geometrical parameters, and it can be determined, the Kp value and also sigma value, delta pi value, all these can be determined, and which will be used for the designing purpose. You can look into the osmotic pressure sensor, which is showing here. It is a small basic schematic view of the osmotic pressure sensor. And in the osmotic pressure sensor, we have a semi-permeable membrane, that is the glucose concentration. And inside we have a reference solutions, which is 100 mg per dl. And this is above of these, we have the two electrodes, and also the silicon membrane is placed. And above the silicon membrane, we have the piezoresistors here. This is our main mechanisms. And these piezoresistors over, we have a silicon oxide. So this device is consisting of the actuation mechanism, top and bottom of the membranes, which is already there. The square cavity, which is used to fill with the reference solution inside, and sealed with the semi-permeable membrane. Now, whatever we have seen the mechanism, which is the semi-permeable membrane, will be work out here. The osmotic pressure sensor measure the change in glucose levels, which is in and out with respect to the reference solutions. So based on the geometrical parameters of the semi-permeable membrane, which we have taken up, that is only allows the solvent to pass through and not to the solute. The diameter is given specific 5 angstrom units to 10 angstrom units, which is greater than of the water molecules, and of course 3.8 angstrom units. The size of the glucose molecule is approximately 9 angstrom units. Sorry. So the size of the angstrom units is 9 angstrom units. Therefore, the membrane will be allows only water, not the solute, because of its size. The kind of the diameter, pore diameter, we have taken 5 to 10 angstrom units, and the membrane will be allow only water, not the solutes. Therefore, the membrane thickness also can be one of the very important challenge. That is, we have taken up from 120 to 200 micrometers approximately. And the permeability will be vary from 8.53 to 7.65 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So keeping of all these the terms and conditions into the mind, the geometrical parameters of semi-permeable membrane are fixed. The initial flow rate is measured for a particular concentration difference. So the in and outflow of the semi-permeable membrane, which created the volume change inside the cavity, that will be leads to some pressure. That pressure will make the deflections of silicon membrane on the top side. The top side silicon membrane deflections will be very high because of the fact that semi-permeable membrane is stiff and thickness is very high. So the displacement of such a semi-permeable silicon membrane is linearly proportional to the volume change inside the cavity. That is the logic. So that relations between the volume change and the displacement, which is created a integration of bending envelope of the silicon membrane of designing of our sensor device. So here there are some numerical equations which is given to understand the relations between the displacement of the silicon membrane and also volume change inside, and in terms of the fluidic parameters, which is not required at this time. So here, the another important thing is that there are so many sensing mechanisms are there. So capacitive-based sensing mechanism is there, piezoelectric is there, piezoresistive is there. We are talking about the piezoresistive sensing mechanism based pressure sensor, that is also piezoresistive osmotic pressure sensor. That is what our device is. Our sensor is piezoresistive based electro osmosis pressure sensor. So why not we go for the capacitive based sensing mechanism and piezoelectric? What are the drawbacks of those? So we have also seen the literature and we understood there are some advantages of piezoresistive and there are some drawbacks of their piezoelectric and physio capacitive basis. So to measure the displacement of silicon membrane of osmotic pressure sensor, we can use above the three. But when coming to the capacitive pressure sensor, so capacitive pressure sensor is a very high sensitive transducer. So obviously capacitive principle is the best among many, but still there are some disadvantages are there in terms of the processing and the trade-off of the parameters. So there are parallel plate capacitor, which is consisting of both the electrodes, top and bottom electrodes like this. This is the pressure sensor based on the capacitive. And here top electrode is fixed and side walls of the device with the stunts. And bottom electrode is split into two parts. You can see here, this is the bottom electrode, which is splitted into two parts and fixed and it is movable. So here, this is kind of the sensing mechanism has taken up where maximum displacement can be occurred from this. And the advantage is among two capacitances, one is variable, the other one is fixed. So from the known fixed, from the capacitance values, small dimensions where variations expanded is very small. This kind of structure is very useful, but even variable capacitance variation are very small compared to the fixed capacitances. It can be sensed by using differential amplifier principle. Whenever your variable capacitance variation is very small compared to the fixed capacitances, automatically the change in capacitance due to the displacement in the membrane, you can see D naught is the initial gap between the plates and dz is the gap between the plates due to the displacement, which will be temperature independent and better sensitivity. The change in capacitance to the fixed capacitance may be improved, and however capacitance variation is not linear here. When the displacement between the capacitance plates increases, non-linearity will be arises. That is the drawback. And moreover, fabrication of parallel plate capacitor on the silicon membrane requires a complex fabrication processes. So keeping in view of some of the drawbacks, the capacitive sensing element, the capacitive sensing principle is not highly suggestible for this particular pressure sensor. Other than the capacitive, we have a piezoelectric also. Piezoelectric material also can be used, and the piezoelectric principle can be used as a sensing element to get the pressure sensor. And here, piezoelectric materials are used in the pressure sensor and to find out the displacement of the silicon. And same structure has taken square silicon cavity and silicon membrane, and above the silicon membrane we have a silicon nitride and also top electrode and bottom electrode. In between the top and bottom electrode we have a zinc oxide. That is the piezoelectric material which is taken. So piezoelectric principle will be work out here. So here these are the materials can be used for this, but piezoelectric material can be worked out as a sensing material because of its electrical potentiality changes when it experiences strain due to the pressure inside. So that is obviously. But the problem is that the sensitivity is very small compared to the capacitive pressure sensor, capacitive principle. And also here piezoelectric is a temperature dependent compared to the capacitive. Fabrication is simple, but these are the some of the non-linearity is also sometimes it may be happen. So keeping in view of these two drawbacks of these two sensing principles, we are going for the piezoresistive pressure sensor. So what is the advantage of this piezoresistive pressure sensor? Taking as a piezoresistive sensing element, we have certain advantages compared to both those. I will come at the end, I will tell you. So this is the device which we have taken, and the silicon membrane, and now two piezoresistors are placed here. So these piezoresistors are buried in a square silicon membrane with the boron diffusion process. The resistivity of this material depends upon the internal atom and its atom positions and also their movement. So these resistors are arranged in a Wheatstone bridge configuration to sense the stress in the membrane caused by the pressure, which is caused by the change in concentration. So this mechanism will be processed. The change in resistance for the applied stress is given by the different mathematical equations, and in a large scale, this particular principle can be applied. So the doping concentration and also piezoresistive coefficients and the target doping concentrations, everything we have done a lot of simulations on this, how this is measuring the concentration levels. Finally, among these three, what we understood after analyzing of these three techniques, capacitive technique will have a high nonlinearity and reasonable sensitivity, good sensitivity in fact, reasonable gauge factor, complex fabrication, and it is independent of the temperature. Piezoelectric is also having a high nonlinearity, less sensitivity, less gauge factor in fact, and fabrication is simple and temperature dependent. Whereas piezoresistive principle provides a very low nonlinearity, which is very, very good. We require a high linearity. So nonlinearity should be low. And also good sensitivity in fact, and reasonable gauge factor, and fabrication is simple and it depends upon the temperature. So keeping in view of all these factors, osmotic pressure sensor, because of its advantages, simple fabrication, linear variation in the resistance with respect to the stress, piezoresistive mechanism can be used for a osmotic pressure sensor, is what we come to one conclusion. So the performance, if you look into the performance of the pressure sensor, the materials which we have used silicon, and piezoresistive coefficients are P type of silicon. And the material, these are the properties: Young's modulus, Poisson ratio, density, and all. We have kept all these trade-off values because these will be changed when we take in the reference glucose concentration inside the cavity is 100 only. For 100 mgdl, these are the material and its properties. So we have done the simulations. So we have observed that the displacement is approximately 1.123 micrometers after 15 minutes. Once we start the sensor, and the concentration will be separated, some pressure will be developed that will make the silicon deflections. The silicon deflections will be proportionate to the resistance changes. The resistance changes will be provide you finally the value of concentration levels. So these after 15 minutes 1.123, and when the device has the silicon membrane, dimensions are 3 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and 10 micrometer thickness. That is the thickness of the membrane. Thickness of the membrane, 3 micrometer. 3 micrometer is the length and width. So we understood that volume change inside the device cavity causes the displacement of the silicon membrane. That displacement is after 15 minutes is this much. When we take in the dimensions are 10 micrometers. This is the fluid flow, fluid velocity inside, how this is moving, separation is happening. So the displacement is maximum always at the center of the membrane, which is proportional to the volume change inside the cavity. Obviously, whenever you are having a cavity, the square cavity, the damping will be always there. That is, the maximum displacement will be occur only at the center. So the displacement of silicon membrane introduces stress, which is the maximum at the edges. The piezoresistive resistors, which we have placed in a Wheatstone bridge configuration on the top of silicon membrane, will be measured that the stress variation, how much it is developing. The change in glucose concentration levels, the reference value 100 mg per dl, the measurement in terms of the output, in terms of the voltage we have done, The change in glucose levels outside the device is measured with respect to the reference solution, that is 100 mg, and with a lot of dimensions, variations, and optimizations of length, width, thickness, and all. The output voltage varies with respect to the pressure for different dimensions of the silicon membrane we observed. So we have observed that output voltage across the bridge increases 0 to 21 millivolts approximately after 40 minutes for a device where silicon membrane dimensions are 3, 3, and 10 micrometer thickness. When we have taken the other factors are fixing the sensitivity we observed, and membrane dimensions are we have changed 3, 3, 10 to 3, 3, 15, and 15 to 20. Thickness we mainly varied. If you see 3 micrometer, 3 millimeter, 3 millimeter, we have not changed the length and width of the membrane. We have changed the thickness of the membrane 10 micrometers to 20, 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. So only for these 3, 3, 10 to 15, 20, 25, 30, we have observed the pressure versus the output, that is the input versus the output. And we have observed that there is a linear improvement is there. There is a linear improvement and good sensitivity is there. Whereas for the dimensions, we have changed the length and width also, 3.5 millimeter length and 3.5 millimeter width, and the thickness is 10. We have observed there is a good improvement in the output voltage compared to the other. And also we have reduced the length and width, and we have seen that for these we have observed this is better compared to the other two things. So from these, what we understood is that the output voltage is linearly proportionate to the pressure. The thickness is 25 micrometer compared to the 10 micrometer. And the non-linearity will be more if the membrane thickness is smaller from the figure. And once non-linearity is 12.65%, the dimensions are 3.5, 3.5, 10, which is very high compared to the 3.29. Where the dimensions are 3, 3, 10. So obviously 3.5, 3.5, 10 is good, and compared to that 335 micrometer is providing a non-linearity, good non-linearity. So here the dimensions of the membrane is playing an important role. So the thickness, mainly the thickness of the membrane decides the amount of the fluid that can pass through semi-permeable membrane for a particular concentration difference. The whole design will be moved around the thickness and also the other dimensions of the membrane. So in that way, the silicon membrane, semi-permeable membrane, the area of the thickness and the cavity which is we taken, and we understood that for the 3 and 310 micrometer is providing a better outcome. Therefore, the summary for these our particular investigation on design and simulation point of view for the pressure sensor, we understood that the structural and analytical behavior of electro pressure sensor was studied using the commercially available FEM software tools, and we understood the different types of the pressure sensing techniques are there, and we analyzed it with the 3, and finally piezoresistive is the good, which we have taken because of its linearity and simple fabrication steps. The fluid flow for the semi-permeable membrane is analyzed using the other tools. And finally, 2 different devices are taken, 3 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 10 micrometer thickness, and also 3 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and 25 micrometer thickness of the membrane is providing the better performance of our pressure sensor. And we need to go for the modeling for this, and we need to cross check our simulation results are providing better or not. We are in the process that will be discussed in the next event. So this is about our pressure sensor, about the glucose monitoring. And let us give a 5 minutes time so that I will be providing you the research activities which we are carrying out in our university. So always, I believe that research, academic success is depending upon research and publications. As we all are teachers, we always based on the academic success. So based on that, we have started our research, MEMS Research Center in our KL University in 2015 in And our main motto is to promote the MEMS microelectromechanical field and interdisciplinary nature of the research in academic and industry community interactions. So research is always a successful one with a interdisciplinary nature. That's why this field particularly interdisciplinary, and we are working on sensors, actuators, and some of the RF switches we have done so far. We have done the simulation, we have done fabrication and all. RF MEMS filters. In fact, this is also one of the very important area. RF MEMS reconfigurable antennas we have taken up. Physioelectric energy harvester, drug delivery systems, MEMS kidney on chip. So this MEMS kidney on chip, we are working in association with the NIT Silchar, and RF MEMS switches, we are working in association with the Mysore University with the Dr. NP Maiti group. And also we have a few faculty who are working with us. We are having some of the tools, and our faculty is working on these, and these are the tools we have in our, and also we purchased some of the devices in our funded projects. We have console, ADS, HFSS, Intel Suite, and MATLAB. And LCR meter we have also a network analyzers for different frequencies. And other the tools which we are trained, some of the scholars who are working with me currently on my supervision. And here you can see Mr. Gopi Chand is working on RF MEMS. He is the student who is doing PhD with the Mysore University under Dr. Reshmi Maiti, and I am the co-supervisor. And the remaining all the students who are working with me in the KL University as their part-time and full-time PhD. And these are some of my collaborators. And I always believe that one person cannot do research in a effective manner. So one should have always a collaborations with the maximum possible extent. So we are having the association with the Dr. NP Maiti and Reshmi Maiti from the Mizoram Central University. We are having association with the Dr. Kaushik Guha and KL Vaishnav from NIT Silchar. We are having association with Dr. KJ Vinay from IISc Bangalore. We are having the association with Shankat Goyal from BITS Pilani and Dr. Prem Paul from IIT Hyderabad. We are also having the association from abroad from other professors. There are many are there. These are some of the active people who are working with us. And we have a good number of publications with all these guys. So these are the areas where we are working, and still we are working, and we will work in even future also in different problems. Reconfigurable antennas, micro channels for drug delivery, robotic sensors, FinFETs. In fact, we are working on FinFETs using the Silverco software. Reconfigurable filters, RF MEMS switches. And these are some of the funded projects so far we have done. And this is one of the research work was done by my PhD scholar. This work has been reported in one of the SCA journal, and later on the same fabricated. This work is in another SCA journal, IET journal, and the same guy has done reconfigurable antenna also with the same switch. Whatever he fabricated, it is also reported in a journal. So like that, scholars who are working with us, they are contributing a lot in different journals. They're reporting their work, and this is one of the very important the area which we are taken up. Still we are working on it, but we are not at come to the conclusions. That is an electrospace cluster device, which is a very good for the space applications. So the basic work we have done, and this has been reported, and I'm looking a good potential candidates who can able to take this challenge for their PhD program. Now the openings are available, and the same guy has done in, and almost different kind of this is mainly whatever I discussed now, that is the MEMS project sensor. This is work is done by Mrs. Sai Lakshmi. She is doing currently PhD with me, and we have reported part of this work in a journals. And also another one is the nano robotics using FPGA based architectures we have done, and this work is also reported. And this is the another work, and like that the scholars who are working with me has done a tremendous job, and we have reported all our works. And this is a very important work, drug delivery system. We have reported this work in IET Nano Biotechnology very recently, in addition to microsystem technologies. So we started our research in our institution 2009 or 10 by inviting different people like this event. We invited people from different part of our country. We have taken the association with them, and we are still continuing with a good collaborations with them. So organizing the conferences, FDP programs, STDP, and also workshops will really strengthen our department activities, research activities, and also our individual activities. So I used to conduct the events and used to get the fund from the ISRO, DST, DBT, and wherever possibility is there, we used to get the funds and try to organize the events and inviting the people from different parts of the country. And mostly I used to invite my collaborators from all over the world. So these are the some of the events which we organized. And in our center, we have research publications, we have some projects, we have good number of funded projects, and some of the events we organized and all. And really there is a tremendous chances are there, huge chances are there. The people who are working really on MEMS in R&D point of view, they will get, and they can be absorbed any one of these industries. They can work on all these different sensors. So these are the some of the selected publications so far wherever we have published our work in association with so many number of collaborators. So these are the some of the resources which we have taken up, and this is our laboratory, the simulation laboratory. Finally, I would like to thank to the coordinator of the event, Dr. N.P. Maiti, and the co-coordinators and dean and the faculty members of Department of EC, Mizoram University. Thank you for providing the opportunity to invite me for taking and sharing my experience on my research area. I would like to thank to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Dr. K.R.S. Samsura Garu. I would like to thank to our Vice Chancellor for KL University, Dr. L.S.S. Reddy, and I would like to thank to our Management President, Dr. Sri Koneri Satyanarayana Garu, for providing the research facilities to carry out our work in a good way. So thank you one and all. Any queries, please welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation. And
Thank you.
I think all participants may very good way that pressure sensor about this.
Yes.
So I think they can go ahead for the research if somebody wants to do the MEMS with the pressure sensor.
Yes.
So in this case, anybody has any question, please please raise the hand, or question answer section is there. So you can ask the question in the question answer sensor. Also, you can chat also. If you will give some question, that will be better. We can discuss briefly and broadly. If you want to discuss, that already sir is there. You can contact personally also, that to take some inputs. So please ask the questions. Sir, one question has come. Deepa Saini,
Yeah.
sir, which simulator are being used for the work? So that is already known questions that sir already discussed. That is MEMS software, any MEMS software like COMSOL, like Intel Switch, like Coventor Air. So you can use this one, and COMSOL is a good software, multi-physics software. Then you can use that one, is the better software also. So it's a general question. That's why I have given sir answer.
Yeah, it's okay, fine. yeah.
So no problem. So you can use COMSOL is the better one.
Yeah. COMSOL is the eco-friendly
better one.
one.
And not only MEMS, in the COMSOL you can use. There is a lots of characteristic.
Yes.
Even if device also you can do there. There are different circuit base also you can do there. So it's a multi-physics software. So you can use different applications, and everybody can use, not only electronics, electrical, even if computer science, they can use for this software also. Another software, Intel Switch, it is also a good software. That is their graphical interface is very good, and you can understood physically also. So that is also very good in the Intel Suite. And another is the Coventor or MEMS Plus is there. Somehow using is typical, but it is a very extremely good software again, Coventor Air also.
Yes.
So this is the general answer I have given.
Yeah.
So any other question? Can we use Atlas for the same? And again, I am giving you answer, sir. Atlas, you cannot do the
Yeah.
MEMS. Okay, Atlas, you cannot do the MEMS. You see, Silvaco is giving two software basically, Atlas and Athena. So Atlas is basically is a device simulation software, and Athena is basically a process simulator software. So in the Silvaco, there is a three types of software is there already: device simulation software, process simulation software, as well as circuit simulation software is there. So there is no way to use the till now in Atlas in MEMS. If you use Atlas, then you have to use by Athena or by deck build. So by deck build, if you go by programming, you have to go. Otherwise, if you go to the Athena, you have to draw the figure, means device structure, you have to give the every input, then you can simulate this one. So this is the Silvaco. You cannot use as a MEMS software in Atlas. Any other question you can ask to the sir. Is ready to give this one answer. Or sir, whatever I have told, if you add something, you can add, sir.
No, you are perfectly right. As you are also working on MEMS. First question is COMSOL is the best and Intel Suite, Coventrevere, MEMS Plus are there. So anyone can be used for the MEMS devices, and Atlas cannot be used for the micro devices. You can use it for the FinFETs.
Yes, you can use FinFETs, you can use
MOSFETs. Yes,
even
for all those.
Solar cell also you can use.
Yeah, for solar cells, photovoltaic cells can be used.
Any device you can use without MEMS. MEMS device you cannot use there. Sir, please share some manual for MEMS simulator. You see, you can get the manual from the, if you search the Google, you can get lots of manuals. Even if you go to the particular website, if you go to the COMSOL website also, so there is a lots of information is there, and they are making webinar nowadays every month, every year. And if you want to talk with only COMSOL also, you can contact us also. We can directly, just few days back, we have arranged the sir known that Gopinath also arranged. So that we can personally also, only with the one-to-one talking also I can do with the COMSOL. So that is not a very big things to get the manual or to get the A. But main thing is the particular when you will select a one problem for using this any application, then there is a problem and then there is a something is there. But for the general manual, you can get the website or whatever I have told. You can contact also. We can directly also help you. Any other question, you tell me. And technical pressure sensor, whatever sir has given, you can ask to the sir. Or these are the question is general question. That's why
questions.
That's why I have giving the answer. I have not giving the trouble to the sir.
No, it's okay, sir. No issue.
So anybody is required any information, you can ask the question. Otherwise, we will complete our session.